And welcome to the End of the Best podcast. I'm your host, Merge, and I'm here with Clayton. What's up, Clayton?
Hi.
All right. So, Lakers are in sort of a weird period right now, especially with the games coming up for them this month. It's going to be rough. And I wanted to talk about really their three top assets when it comes to the Lakers. And these are the first three people that you look at if you're a free agent, and it's Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Luke Walton. And I wanted to sort of break down how they've been this year, and how we project them to, do going forward, rest of their careers, so on and so forth. So starting off with the main person that people talk about when it comes to the Lakers, Mr. Lonzo Ball. Let's put LeVar and the LiAngelo LaMelo craziness to the side. I don't want to have any sort of bias when it comes to Lonzo, because LeVar is really making me start to not like him, which I don't want to do because I actually like Lonzo. So starting with Lonzo, so let's start with the positives. So Clayton, what have you seen so far this year that you've been encouraged by?
His defense is way better than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much true for everyone other than maybe Tim.
Tim thought he would be good.
Yeah, I thought that he would be pretty decent off ball, but he's been pretty good on ball.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Not. He hasn't been a super liability on ball, but a lot of the times, KCP is the guy that's on ball.
Yeah.
His defense has been good, obviously, like I just said. His rebounding, we all knew he'd be a rebounder, and he passes the ball pretty well. Everyone thinks that he's some type of elite passer. I think he's got elite vision, which is different from being an elite passer.
Yeah, D'Angelo had elite vision.
Yeah.
He wasn't an elite passer, though.
No. Well, I think he had elite passes. He had below average decision making.
Right, exactly.
while Lonzo has above average decision making.
Yeah, his assist to turnover ratio is really, really good.
Yeah, he has 7 assists per game right now with 2.7 turnovers per game.
That's really good for a rookie.
Yeah, for a rookie, that's really good. As I said, the rebounding and the passing we kind of expected. A lot of the transition with the long Hail Mary passes, those have kind of been taken away as people like, hey, let's just let them get the board and get back on defense so they can't do that crap. Yeah. He does keep the game going if the offense running a bit. Yeah. Problem is the half court offense is just atrocious, and he doesn't really help with that very much either. So, I guess the main things I would say is that he's good at setting guys up, at least in transition. He's not turning the ball over a ton, especially for a rookie.
Yeah,
and he's rebounding the ball well. I'm sure other people would say that there are other little things that he does well, but those are the main things I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, I would agree with what you said. Another thing, I think this has stood out ever since UCLA, but I think he's gonna average 2+ steals per game for a lot of his career, because his hands are absurdly quick. Like,
we talked about that the last game or the last podcast too.
Yeah, they're like, it's something that is definitely gonna translate, and it's stuff like Steph Curry isn't a great defender, but he's always in the top 5 in steals because he has really quick hands, and people like John Wall and even like Russell Westbrook, they get a lot of steals, and I'm not saying Lonzo's Russell Westbrook when it comes to defense. He's much better than him in my opinion. When it comes to that aspect, he's been really good at, like, stuff like you said. He's been good at rebounding. He's been good at racking up assists. He likes to make those passes where the other team really isn't paying attention at all, and he just lobs it. Like, there was that one play against the Warriors where he got the board, and the Warriors had their backs turned, and he just threw a perfect pass to Julius right under the basket, which was which was really, really fun to see. he's been a lot better than I expected on defense. It's been like the opposite of what I was expecting from him when it comes to what he was really good at. Now we're expecting him as like if you want to have defense, you put him out there and he'll at least try and he'll be active. There's stuff on defense that he's still not great at, like pick and roll defense. But he just gets killed on screens, which I think he can get better at. I mean, just learn angles better and being able to learn stuff like that. I think you can get better at that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, for as much as we'll get to his negatives, he's still been good to me, and he's been disappointing, just from other standpoints. But I think him showing his overall game a lot more is it's promising in the rest of the game. And if he ever figures out his shot, it'll have everything come together. But yeah, now moving over to negative, I think we both know what the negative is going to be.
Shooting.
Yes, that's the biggest negative. I think that's really one of his only negative for being, but it's a huge negative. Obviously, it hurts a lot.
I mean, I think there's multiple negatives, and surprisingly, they're all on offense.
Yeah.
A couple of them of the negatives could be helped out with another playmaker on offense.
I agree.
First off, the first one that everyone notices, which there's a reason why it's noticed, is because it's really bad, is his shooting. He's shooting, 31% from the field, and he's shooting 25% from three, which is those numbers are actually up a bit.
on 5 attempts per game too, by the way.
Yeah. So that is really, really affecting him. Not to mention that he's also shooting 50% from the line.
Yeah.
Which I hate listening to Stu. Like, he's just so bad. But he made a comment about how he rushes his free throws, and then all he uses is arms.
Yeah, I do realize that when he gets the ball, he doesn't really try to dribble to get his rhythm.
He has no routine.
He throws it up there.
How are you 20 years old and you don't have a routine?
He hasn't really been a guy to get to the line a lot.
I get that, but you still have to practice that.
No, I got you.
Like that's just a very, very odd one.
Yeah.
The next negative I think is kind of just the pick and roll offense. He's actually done a little better than I expected, but I didn't expect much from that regard.
Which is why we are so fine with him and D'Angelo together,
Oh yeah. The pick and roll is just, he's not very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some where he looks good, there's other ones where he looks bad, and then the most just look pretty yuck. But are you hearing an echo?
No,
I'm hearing good. Anyways, no. And then the last one, oh man, the echo threw me off. The other one, and this really isn't his fault.
Yeah.
This is all on Luke. Is he has not played, according to Basketball Reference, any minutes at the 2.
Yeah.
And that was one of my biggest concerns was they were going to play him at 100% point guard, and they've done exactly that.
Yeah.
So that's not on him. Okay, that is not on him.
Right.
But because he is playing point guard, this is actually the point I wanted to bring up. He is really bad in the half court. The Lakers' half court offense is bad.
Yeah.
And if Brooke isn't in the post, or Brooke is just having a bad game, which he's had a lot of very bad games this year,
especially recently.
Yeah. The half court offense just looks bad, and he's just not good at the half court offense. This is why he should be getting minutes at the 2, and part of that is on, or majority of that is on Luke not playing him at the 2. part of that is also on the front office for not getting a legitimate backup point guard. So, like, I mean,
we have one.
You do have Clarkson.
Yeah, Clarkson's been very good.
Clarkson has been very good, and excuse me, they've shared the court at times, but Clarkson's been at the 2.
Yeah,
which means that, of course, Clarkson just is like, oh, I'm a shooting guard, which means I need to shoot.
Yeah.
So that's
Clarkson's really weird with that. Like, there's times where he just passes, like only passes, and he passes up shots, and then he takes his role too literally, you know.
Yeah. It's funny, but yeah, I guess that would be my main issues is that the shooting obviously is just so bad.
Yeah.
Like Marcus Smart or Rondo level bad. Like it's just so bad.
And surprisingly, Jamal Murray level bad.
Yeah. Well, unless Jamal Murray's playing against Steph. Like I haven't seen a true shooting percentage below like 40 in a while. And Lonzo has a 38% true shooting percentage. And while everyone, this is all very funny because like I've been one of the people saying like he shouldn't change his form.
Yeah.
Because it's like messing with someone with that unique of a shot. And it's not like it's Michael Carter Williams where like he's like curled it's you know what I'm saying, like curled his body into like some weird thing. Like once Lonzo's shot is past like his forehead, the shot looks clean.
Yeah, it's a footwork thing with him.
Yeah, that's my main thing. So like I don't really think he needs to change the shot. I just think he needs to get comfortable. You know, and it's going to take a while, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be this year. He might not shoot 42% true shooting percentage.
No, I mean, unless he can make some sort of small bounce back like Ingram did, but
yeah. So like I'm not gonna
at the rim too, which is
I'm not gonna just totally destroy him. Like I'm not calling him a bust. I don't want him to be traded. It's incredibly frustrating, but at the same time, we saw this last year with Ingram, and we kind of saw it with D'Angelo's rookie year, not to these extremes. But people need to realize, like players don't come in as rookies and just start shooting the lights out.
Yeah,
there's very few that do that, and
unless they're Donovan Mitchell the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, unless they're Donovan Mitchell the last 2 weeks. So yeah, the shooting, the pick and roll offense, which is like that's not even really a part of the offense unless JC's on the floor, and then just the pathetic half court offense. So
something to add on with the pick and roll offense, I think he is much better at this when Julius is on the floor.
Yes,
and put that into context, that is that lineup has played the 19th most together on the whole team.
Yeah,
the two-man lineup of Lonzo and Julius.
It really is just so weird because like they've essentially turned Brook into a pick and pop big, and that's almost all he is.
Yeah.
And the reason why he has to become a pick and pop big is because Nance isn't shooting. Like Nance is so afraid to shoot the ball. Like it's incredible. Like how did you like get drafted being that afraid to shoot the ball? And he's not even a bad shooter.
No, he just doesn't. Shoot.
He just doesn't. It's like he's got the yips or something. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. But Brook has to become a pick and pop big because Nance won't shoot. Period. Yeah. And I mean, unless he's 3 feet from the rim, and Brandon, he's still finding his way back to 3. So it's a lot of different factors to why, other than the actual shooting, his actual shooting, and the pick and roll, but. I mean, because him as an operator, as is not like him being able to find a guy.
Oh no! But when you have the guy in Julius Randle who's literally leading the league in points per possession in pick and rolls.
Yeah.
You should play him a lot more, and we'll talk about that when we get to Luke.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that has the second best plus minus of all, and surprisingly, the number one is Caldwell Pope and Julius, which is kind of funny. I don't know why,
How
but
many minutes have they played? I can't even honestly remember seeing them together.
240.
They had to. I had to have. It's just
That's
apparently it's just something that I don't like. Maybe because I'm more excited to see Josh Hart play.
that's also more than Lonzo and Julius have played together too.
Yeah, that's not a
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah. So moving to Brandon, who has been quite the opposite when it comes to expectations this year, or at least meeting expectations. Last 5 or 6 games, he's been on an absolute tear. Pretty much the best game showing that is the Warriors game against one of the best defenders in the league, Kevin Durant.
Which I want people to realize how great Kevin Durant has been at defending this year.
He's been isn't he like
The
second
player of the year level, good.
I
Like
think
he's been excellent.
I think he's second in the league in blocks in either in the league or per 36, something like that.
I'd have to look it up, but yeah,
He's been ridiculous.
Draymond.
He's been their Draymond at times, and
Yeah.
I think that's a big reason why they killed whoever they played today, and he got a triple double. It's KD,
Mhm.
but anyway, Brandon's been really great this year. So let's start with the negatives with him first, so we can gush about him in the next one. Has there been anything you've been disappointed in him with, or something that he needs to work on to get to the next level?
His obviously his 3-point shooting.
Mhm.
He's up to what 30% this year from
Yeah,
three,
I believe so.
but he's only taking 1.6 a game. That's honestly, it's not a huge concern right now because I think that when he continues to add strength, he'll be able to push it back more. It's just that he's not willing to take a lot of them unless it's that corner three.
Yeah,
And go ahead and take the corner three, like
yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. But he needs to take more of those in my opinion. And that's really what's affecting a lot of his advanced numbers.
Yeah.
Like his offensive ratings and stuff like that. It's because he's shooting a poor true shooting percentage because his 3-point percentage is low because he's not taking a lot.
Yeah.
And then obviously his free throw, it's improved, but it's still not very good. But once that goes up, the 3-point percentage, and he gets the free throw up to like, I think he could probably get to about 72 this year.
Oh, he's been the past like 6 or 7 games. He's been shooting just below 80.
Yeah. I think he could get up to 72 to 75 this year.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he started to turn it around there. But if Ingram can get to about 32 to 33% from 3 this year on like 3.5 attempts, you're very happy. And hit all of his numbers skyrocket when he does that. So really that's my biggest gripe, which as you can kind of tell, it's not really a huge gripe for me.
Yeah.
My other one is kind of playmaking. Because it's only 2. He only has 2.9 assists, which again, not always. Assists is kind of a bad stat. People don't think it is, but go look at tape whenever someone has a triple double.
Yeah,
you get credited for assists for just utter nonsense. But he's improving in the last 5 to 10 games.
Yeah, I think it's because Luke has finally started to give him isolation and calling plays for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's starting to take over in his own right because he is a more of an isolation player. That's how he gets comfortable. And then when he finally gets going in his isolation, that's when everything else starts to come. So that the last 5 to 10 games, I've really not had a gripe with that, but just if we're gonna just go overall in the
Yeah.
season, that's kind of just a thing.
Yeah, I think he can get to around 4 or 5 a game. Like
Yeah,
in like his
yeah, I
prime,
think
I
so
think he's
too.
a really good passer, and it's
Yeah,
kind of an underrated aspect of his game.
I even when he was at Duke, I said he was a really good passer. And
Yeah,
then he's obviously not Ben Simmons level passer, but
no,
he's
no,
a
Ben
really good
Simmons is
passer.
like one of the best in the league.
Oh
But
yeah, Ben Simmons is otherworldly when it comes to passing.
mhm.
The only other thing I really have a gripe with is his handles are
Yeah,
very loose and not in that one is going to take time. That one
yeah,
isn't. I'm not going to blame that on him because he's still learning his body. You know, with that 7'3", it might even be 7'4" wingspan now. He
yeah,
just looks so freaking long. He's averaging 2.5 turnovers a game, but I think a lot of that could be solved down the road when his handles get tighter, when he gets just more strength and
yeah.
control of his body. Um, there are times when he just gets the ball poked away. It's just because his like elbow is up by his head and his wrist is down by his ankle. It looks like it's just he's just
Yeah.
there. Who was the artist today that had him? They made like their own version of stretch with him. It looked super cool.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I forgot who it was, but I did see that.
Sorry, I wish I could give you a shout out, man. I can't remember what your Twitter name is, but yeah, that's probably my other concern other than the 3-point shooting. That's probably my other one, but I think that'll come with time. He's super long and he's super thin and he's trying to bully guys, which is funny
Yeah,
because he's really small, but he's absorbing contact and seeking out contact a lot better now.
yeah. I think the thing with his handles, there were a couple times against the Warriors where he tried to ISO against Jordan Bell, and he tried to do
Mhm.
a spin move on him. And Jordan Bell is
Yeah,
really good defender in isolations, and he's a really good defensive player in general. And he stripped it from him a couple times, and he just needs
yeah,
to work on stuff like that.
he had 7 turnovers that game.
Yeah, and I think he tried to take over that game, and he did. I mean, he had 32 points against Kevin Durant, but um, like stuff like that, he does need to shore up his handle. I think, like you said, he's still sort of getting used to his body, and he's still only 20. I think that'll get to the point. I don't think
He's
it'll.
he's a month he's a month older, or like 6 weeks I think older than Lonzo.
Yeah,
So like when people say like he's young, they're
but
really kind of like
he was the youngest in draft class, right?
the
Or
only person younger I think was Bender,
okay,
which was like a month or two.
yeah. The only other thing I want to say I don't really like with his game right now, everything you said plus he loves trying to get those long twos, and
Yeah. Yeah, he
he
needs to, those are the ones he needs to just take a step back and just pull it up from three.
yeah, like I'm fine with his like 10 to 15 footers that he
Yeah,
does.
those ones at the elbows. I like those ones. Those are fine.
Yeah,
That's a good weapon to have. But the 16 to 24 foot, there's
yeah,
really no need for those. There's
yeah.
really no need for them.
There were I think again going back to the Warriors game because he had the ball in his hands a lot that game.
Mhm.
When Lakers were down, they needed a bucket. They tried to ISO him, and then he went off the pick and roll and just shot it like off the pick, and it was like right below the 3 point line, and like he just it was too strong because
Yeah, yeah,
he just bricked it back of the rim. So stuff like that, I think again, it's just the more he plays, the more he'll figure out long twos aren't great shots.
yeah.
And
Well, that's something. I mean, we'll get to Luke. That's something
yeah,
that apparently has not been discouraged in practice, which that should be discouraged.
oh yeah, like
He's
just like
he's
yeah.
from 10 feet to 30 to 3 point line. That's 30% of his shots, and that's not efficient. Like
Yeah.
the 10% at the 10 to 16 foot, that's okay, really, because that's free throw line and a bit in.
Yeah,
But
that's a shot.
six,
That's a shot you want to shoot. You're down by one. You need to win the game right now. Type of shot.
mhm, mhm, that's a fine shot. especially with his arms, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the 16 to 3-point line, there's no reason why he should be taking almost 20% of his shots from there. That's a very inefficient shot. It's not smart to do that. People still apparently don't understand how not smart that is.
Yeah, I mean that's
because
why.
people still have DeMar DeRozan. So.
Yeah, I mean that's why when people like Stu Lance say that Julius just needs an 18-footer, I don't like when people say that because Julius needs a corner three.
Yeah.
I'd much rather him have a corner three than an 18-footer, a face-up 18-footer, you know?
Yep. Which is funny because Julius the last 2 years has been pretty decent at that shot.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll check it out.
But I'm just saying
it's
to, like,
yeah,
add to his.
It really is just one of the most inefficient. It's the most inefficient shot in all of basketball. Is those long mid-range twos. There's no point to it at all. Unless like you're just so wide open and you can't back up in time to get a three and you are running into a brick wall going forward. Unless like they're just going to absolutely give it to you, but to seek it out is just really dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
And having someone have that 18-foot, face up, no, there's absolutely no need for it.
Much rather have a pick and pop three than an 18-footer.
Yeah.
Julius
10 to 16 feet this year is only at 20%, but last year was at 50%.
Oh, okay.
And then from 16 to 3, he was at 31.8%, which that's below average on the whole. But for a power forward, if I remember correctly, that's actually pretty dang good.
I mean, going off a little Julius tangent for a second, I want him to shoot more of those threes because I think he's actually been decent at them. I mean,
he's only shot 25% from three this year. That said, the shot looks a lot better coming off of his hand.
It does, yeah, and it doesn't look, the shot isn't as awkward.
Yeah,
it looks different than it did last year.
Yeah, he especially when he steps into it.
Exactly.
When he step into it, because I don't remember him actually coming off a bounce at all with it, which is, I think, the best type of 3-point is coming off a bounce.
Yeah.
But being able to step into it, that's when he looks good. When he makes them, they're a lot more memorable than really anyone else, because like you're like, holy crap, he just made a three.
Yeah, he's the guy that, like, if he starts making threes, it's completely game over. It really is. I mean, anyway, all right, go back to Ingram. Let's go over his positives. I'll start this. I saw a stat from Joey Ramirez, the Lakers. I don't really know what he is with the Lakers, but he works for the Lakers. And he had a stat where it said that Brandon's second in the league in field goal percentage at the rim on drives, and that's behind the great LeBron James. And that's pretty dang impressive for someone like Ingram, who isn't, still isn't strong enough. He's nowhere near LeBron's strength. And he's making those shots, and he's making it pretty consistently. Those long arms, there's times, and his body control, those two added together make for some really incredible layups on drives. And it's really incredible to see, because that's shots that you see people like Giannis make on a very consistent basis, and if Ingram adds strength, I can see him finishing those with dunks in the future, like really like the strong dunks, going through contact type dunks that Giannis does a lot. Like, he's just been so great driving the ball to the rim. And he's finally learning how to use his length on both sides. Going to the defensive side, he's been getting a lot of steals just for being long. I mean, there's that one play at the end of, again, back to the Warriors game, end of the fourth quarter, Kevin Durant's ISOing. Oh no, it was overtime. The Warriors are down 3, Lakers are down 3. Kevin Durant is ISOing Brandon up, and then Brandon uses his long arm to reach around and steal the ball from KD, and he almost gets an and one to tie the game up. I mean, stuff like that, you see that a lot, and for him to steal a ball from Kevin Durant, who's one of the best ball handlers in the league in general, let alone for a big guy like he is, is really impressive. He's been really good on ISO plays. I mean, he there's been times where you just see him lock up guys, and there's again I keep going to the Warriors game, but he went at Steph Curry on a closeout, and Steph you saw Steph sort of
he thought about
he thought about it, and that if you can make Steph Curry think about kind of open three, then you win that possession, like you could.
Yeah, even if he makes it, because
even if he makes it, yeah.
Yeah, because you're just like, if he really thought about it, which he's got a green light and he's got no conscience when it comes to shooting a three.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's shots that Steph makes that would be the worst shots for almost the rest of them, almost pretty much the whole NBA. Like minus like Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, and Kyrie, maybe. like that. I mean, maybe James Harden too, but like stuff like that, like. They're bad shots for everyone else. And if you can make Steph Curry like think about a shot, then you're doing well defensively, and having those long arms is just really a plus on defense.
I agree.
That's been a definite improvement. I mean, the whole team has improved on defense, but a 9-point improvement on defensive rating for Brandon Ingram is very impressive. And I think it was a lot lower a few games ago too. Having that Warriors game and the Rockets game and the Nuggets game have sort of brought the defense down a little bit. But yeah, what do you think, Clayton, for his positives?
Yeah, mainly just using the length, figuring out how to use that length himself. It does help at the rim. It helps just getting up and over guys. It helps obviously with the defense. I'm a wingspan like freak. So when he does stuff just because of his wingspan, you're just like, yes, because you can see like a monster being developed. Like
sure.
he still has a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. Like, but when people were saying like calling to trade him, remember, like in the preseason. And the first few games of the season, I was just like, "Yeah, all right, you have fun with that talk." And the last several games, he's looked so good. There's a game here or there where he didn't look great, but we keep talking about the Golden State game. He looked really good that game. The Clippers game. He was 6 for 10. He didn't shoot great from the free throw line, but he scored 17 points. Sacramento game, that was he went 4 for 7 and 4 from 6 from free throw. But for some reason, I remember that game as kind of like a disappointment. I think I fell asleep against the Chicago game, so I can't honestly say much about that game.
The Chicago game was all Julius and KCP. That game, I remember that one too. Yeah.
The Houston game, he started out rough.
Yeah.
But then he finished strong. He ended up 7 for 16 and from the field and 4 from 6 from the free throw line. We keep talking about the Golden State game.
Yeah.
All right. The game that I actually thought that he was really good at was that Houston game. Him being able to turn it around. He had 9 boards that game, 5 assists, only 1 turnover. Also, Houston doesn't have Kevin Durant, who's, like we said, defensive player of the year type guy right now.
They have some tough.
They have PJ Tucker, Trevor Ariza, Luke Richard Mbamute. All of them give guys fits.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And a 20-year-old being able to go up against those guys and have a game where, they lost by 23. That last quarter kind of got out of hand, obviously. But him being able to go against those guys and not look like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
That's something that, we hate moral victories and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it looked, I was happy with that game. While I was upset about the loss, I was happy with how he looked.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the loss in general, I mean, I wasn't too like mad at it just because I think the Rockets are
They're a top
insane
3
right
team.
now. I mean, they might be the best at the moment. At the very moment, they're the best team in basketball. And I mean, not saying. I mean, if you play them against the Warriors right now, obviously they're going to win because Warriors are Steph Curry-less, you know. But that's against a team that knows how to beat switches. And Pete at Liger Film Room made a video on just that when they killed guys who are normally really good on switches, especially Julius. But they have guys like Julius, or they have guys like James Harden and Eric
Chris
Gordon
Paul.
and Chris Paul who are incredible at isolations. So I mean,
That's funny. Yeah, no, I remember seeing that. While I think Golden State is actually the better team,
yeah,
Houston, the Lakers match up better with Golden State than they do with Houston because of that. And I think Pete was someone that said something along those lines as well.
yeah,
And it's very true because those ISO guys can be able to that they do just fine off the switches. And while like obviously Golden State, they can ISO with Curry or Durant. Rest of their guys really aren't ISO guys.
right.
So being able to have
Unless you're Nick Young, just want to hijack a possession.
let's never talk about him on the podcast again.
I will always talk about Nick Young.
But yeah, I saw what Pete was talking about and how you brought it up, and yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to probably the most controversial person in Lakers Twitter right now, Luke Walton. So since he's been such, there's been a lot of negative stuff said towards him. Let's start with positive. What do you think he's improved on from last year?
His handsomeness.
Oh,
He looks,
that's true.
He looks a little bit more brown.
Yeah.
It is sad that it looks like he's balding a little bit up on top if you get a good view. So
yeah,
that's kind of sad. But but to get back to it, the team defense is just, they went from number 30 to now they're what, 8?
8, yeah.
So I don't really think you can complain much about that.
Defensively, yeah, I agree.
Defensively, on the other hand, there's a lot of other stuff to complain about. The rotations are terrible.
Yeah.
How we've brought up how Lonzo has not really gotten any action at the wing. He hasn't gotten a run off screens a lot, which that is something that he did at UCLA. Making Lonzo the primary ball handler was never a good idea. And I don't know if it's him or Magic or who, but they're just obsessed with that.
Yeah.
Not giving Randall more minutes, giving Nance too many minutes, giving Corey Brewer any minutes. Tyler Ennis getting any minutes. Like the Lakers only need a 9-man rotation.
Yeah.
To be honest. And 3 or 4 of the guys that he has on the court a lot or gives some minutes to, just like Larry Nance should not get the most minutes out of Julius Randle and Kyle Kuzma. Period. He should not be playing more than them. If you want to get all up in arms about how Nance shouldn't be starting, you do you. But I'm more worried about who finishes the game. And if Nance is finishing the game, there's something wrong.
Yeah, I think the biggest culprit of that was the Nuggets game when they're tied with the Nuggets, and he brings in Larry for Julius, and the Nuggets go on a 10-2 run immediately.
Yeah, and then he had to bring Julius back in, and the damage was done.
Yeah, it was.
The offensive scheme is really bad. I said it before the year. You cannot run an offensive scheme thinking about being primarily a transition team. The most you're probably going to get is 22 to 23% of your offense that way.
Right.
If you think that is a way to make a team completely function, then you're going to have major issues, and their offense clearly has major issues. It is 28th out of 30 an offensive rating.
Yeah.
So rotations, scheme, just it's not very good. He's not putting guys to succeed in a position to succeed. It there's quite a bit. One thing that really has me down is when he won't take any blame.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
And when he doesn't necessarily call people out. I think he has a couple times, but you don't want to go too far with that, because then you start looking like Byron, and that is obviously not a good thing, because Byron sucked. So yeah, that's probably actually one of my biggest issues, but it's not something that you see as much, you know.
Yeah, I think I remember I don't remember who exactly. I think it might have just been someone on Twitter that I saw, but I thought they made a good point of comparing Luke to the Rams head coach Sean McVay. Whenever the Rams lose, Sean McVay takes all the blame.
Is that Nas?
I think it was Nas. He brought it up.
Might have been Nas.
Yeah. And I think, like, I'm a huge McVay fan. I mean, I think that's a really big thing in a young coach. Like,
yeah,
McVay.
being able to self-criticize or self-critique, and he has not done that at all.
I've never seen that with Luke. I think the first thing when you lose, I think, regardless on if a player did something stupid, it always falls on the coach. It always does.
Yeah, because the player's going to be the one who gets to stay while the coach is gone.
Exactly.
Look at Memphis.
Exactly. So I think, like, Luke needs to realize that he's doing that, and I think the people that he's patronizing the most when it comes to this, and he might not be even saying their names, but the people who I think get the shortest leashes are Julius, Kyle Kuzma, and Jordan
Hart.
Oh, Josh Hart too. Jordan Clarkson as well, I think. Those four are arguably been our four best players. Hart to a very lesser extent because he hasn't played as many games.
Yeah, well, and his Hart's like little transformation into being a pretty good role player right now.
Yeah,
that's only happened in the last couple games.
100%.
So like that one, he like Hart was good against Denver. He was pretty decent against Golden State. Yeah. And he had moments against the Clippers. So like, you know, and like a few before that, like his little stint in the G League helped him. The Houston game was a total dud for him, but what can you say? But yeah, having these short leashes with these guys, while like Bogut one game was just so bad. He was so bad. And Luke
the Boston game.
Yeah, Larry has looked bad a lot, and he just continues to play. Lonzo has had moments where he just looks like he doesn't know what's going on the court, you know?
Yeah.
But he stays on the court. It's just Brewer's only function is essentially just getting runouts from Lonzo
and to defend Devin Booker.
But yeah, I mean that's all on Luke. It's so weird because like he has a short trigger now with the bench. When last year he had such a long leash for him.
Well, I mean, the only young guy that was really on the bench that was like a young guy was Ingram. And in the starting lineup, you had Julius and D'Angelo, you know?
Yeah.
And those are the two guys that he
played. I mean, Clarkson still is only, 25?
Yeah.
So last year was 24. So he gave Clarkson a ton of run when Clarkson looked bad. And now Clarkson has been one of our better guards, if not the best guard, and
Yeah.
he just gets yanked, and you're just like,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, because like, okay, so like last year, I wouldn't have had a huge, really that big of an issue. It was frustrating, but not something that I would cry a ton about,
yeah.
But now we don't have a draft pick. You're not taking, so you might as well just play him.
Yeah.
And
I mean, again, like you said, last year he was legitimately bad.
yeah,
This year he's been a very good
he's
bench player.
he's been borderline six man of the year conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
So it's really frustrating.
yeah. The biggest culprit of this for 100% is Julius, though.
Oh yeah, he has the shortest leash and most inconsistent playing time of anyone.
I feel bad for the dude. I mean, he's been. Again, I've said this a lot on the podcast. I think he's been our best player, and it
Mhm.
shows. There's a huge difference when he's on the court. You can
Yeah.
tell that Julius Randle is in the game.
Mhm.
I mean, there was a game where I'm trying to remember. He put up 10 points, and Luke pulled him.
Yeah, I remember what game was.
I,
Oh
I think it
crap!
was a Clippers game. I want to say it was a Clippers game, but I don't remember exactly. But
Yeah,
he put up 10 points like immediately when he came in, and he pulled him for Larry.
yeah, because he missed a rotation, I think.
And I think he shot an ill-advised three.
Yeah,
And but that was it. Really, it wasn't like he was like just being really lazy or anything like that. He like they put him like that just for that, and it doesn't make sense. I mean, when you can tell that he makes the most impact on our team, and I think it's obvious because the two plus lineups are, I mean, for the 2-man lineups, it's it's Julius and Lonzo and Julius and KCP. I think there was a thing that Pete tweeted out that like the best seven best lineups on the Lakers
all
all
have Julius.
all had Julius on them.
Yeah,
And
which is just insane. And 5 of those had Kuzma.
yeah,
Really, the thing is like Randall has been good with everyone except Nance.
right, yeah,
Which
exactly.
I don't think he was even that lineup wasn't even that bad. It was just not anywhere near what he is with everyone else. Like you have Brooke Lopez, who is essentially the guy that you're thinking would fit perfectly with Julius, and they don't play very much together.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like
I
I mean, there was the running joke on Lakers Twitter that they didn't even know each other.
yeah, I mean
So,
the one
like,
game they played like more than 10 minutes together was when we beat the Nuggets by like 19 points,
yeah, it was a great showing.
and we
But
haven't seen it since.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't get it. I mean, okay. I also want to make this really clear. We don't want Luke to be fired. Let's just make that
no.
clear first.
I get very frustrated with Luke, but that was because I had very high hopes for Luke.
Yeah.
You know, it's not because I think that he like is he a bad coach right now? Yeah,
Mhm.
he's especially a manager of the game. He's pretty bad in my opinion.
Yeah.
Would I do better? No, I'm not. I would not do better. That's always one retort people always have. Well, you couldn't do better. No, I couldn't do better. I'm not. I don't have a coach's mind.
Right.
That's not me. I do not have a coach's mind.
If you were the coach, you put the 5 longest players on the court.
Yeah. Who here has a wingspan above 7 feet? Okay, everyone go in.
Brandon, Brandon
Yeah,
Julius, Thomas
yeah.
Bryant,
Kuzma.
Kuzma,
Yeah.
Lonzo.
Lonzo. Well, Lonzo's got like a 6'10" wingspan, they say, or something like that. So
Yeah.
he'd be fine. Hey, someone has to handle the ball, I guess. But but yeah, it's just it's more frustrating than anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I do think Luke will still be a good coach. It's
Mhm.
just when people thought like he was going to step in immediately and be like Brad Stevens 2.0,
Oh no. Yeah.
that was not something that was going to happen because Brad Stevens had multiple years of coaching at Butler.
Also, Brad Stevens is a brilliant basketball mind.
Well,
Like,
I do think I do think Luke has a great mind for basketball as well. Some of his sidelines out of bound plays are really good.
Mhm.
Um, Kerr has said that they still use some of his plays
Yeah.
that he just drew up then and there. But the thing is he's just still very inexperienced.
Also, I do think Brad Stevens has had some really good assistant coaches as well.
Oh and that's another thing. That's a huge weakness of Luke. More so, really, than a lot of his other faults.
Yeah, that's a big.
One of his biggest faults for me is his coaching staff. And while you can give the coaching staff credit for a lot of things on defense, the offense, all the guys look pretty bad
Uh-huh.
for the most part. Sure, there are guys that have improved, like Julius is finishing really well at the rim now. Yeah, that's something that you could possibly give them credit for. But the fact that like he doesn't have any real gurus and he has Brian freaking Shaw on the sideline
As the associate head coach.
as the associate head coach, it's just mind blowing.
Mhm.
Like, I get it. You want your coach, your young new head coach, to be comfortable. So let him have guys he's comfortable with. You can have unlimited amount of developmental coaches. There's no cap on that. All right. Yeah, you can only have so many dress up and sit in the front
Mhm.
on the actual bench. But there's no real cap. You could still have 5, 6 developmental coaches, but then you still need to have gurus, you
Yeah,
know? And I don't know who is in charge of the defense.
I think it's Shaw. If I had to guess, I think it's either Shaw or Mermies.
I would probably guess Mermies. I honestly wouldn't guess Shaw for anything. Um, I don't think Shaw is a good coach at all in any way, shape, or form.
What do you need him to rap for
Yeah,
you?
exactly. Need him to come to my house and write a rap for me because I'm a millennial.
A Lakers specific rap about the
Yes.
players on the Lakers. He needs to have all the Lakers in
Yeah,
it.
yeah. If you can't see, but my eyes rolled back so far, I think I was able to see my own spinal cord. But
Oh man.
yeah, you if it is Shaw, then I guess give him credit. But I don't honestly think that's him because where he's been at, I mean, other than like when he was with Vogel
Uh-huh.
in Indiana, which I think Vogel's still a pretty good coach. But
Well,
like,
he isn't starting Aaron Gordon at the 3 anymore, so
well, yeah, I mean that was a very smart move. But like when he was in Denver, that team was bad defensively.
yeah.
So and yeah, they didn't have the greatest players to play on defense, but still, I would probably guess Mermies.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of really good talk of him, especially last year. But like, there's a guy just chilling on the sidelines right now, Dave Fizdale.
Oh man.
Like bringing in
Take that for
Fizdale.
data.
Yeah, take that for data. He would be so good to bring in. Why? Like maybe if Fizdale doesn't want to come in right now, then that's on Fizz. But like if
You need to
Fizdale is
try it.
welcome to coming into a team right now and just writing out rest of the year, then you do it. You
Yeah.
bring him in. So like, especially since I think that Fizdale is a remarkable coach, and especially since Fizdale has a great relationship with LeBron James, which I still don't think is coming. But
Mhm.
if you do believe he's coming, that's just another chip, or a
Oh yeah.
feather in the cap to bring him in. So
I do wonder if the only reason we saw Brian Shaw is because the Paul George connection.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't see them getting rid of Brian Shaw, even if the Lakers officially secured.
I just really have to hope that someone is stupid enough to hire Brian Shaw somewhere else.
That's never gonna happen. The only
It's
person I can see being the head coach on our team is Mermies.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So, well, Miles Simon apparently is really good.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I've heard good things about him too.
but
I
yeah,
mean, you say bring in people that he'd be comfortable with. I think, well, maybe not even comfortable with him, but someone that would be comfortable with this team and very specifically our best prospect. I've said this last year. Bring Jerry Stackhouse in as an assistant coach,
Yep.
man.
What like bring in guys that have already proven to help with development. You know, Stackhouse they say is really good with that Toronto 905 times.
He took a Murmy's job.
Yeah. They didn't lose a step.
Yeah, not at all. I think they won the finals.
They might have. Try and pay Nash whatever to bring him back.
Yeah,
you know, get him away from Golden State.
Golden State has too many, dude.
You need to bring in talent. You don't need to bring in guys that just make your coach happy.
You don't need Mark Madsen. He has no connection to Luke. I swear to God.
I hate that Mark Madsen. Like he has been a leech on the Lakers organization ever since that stupid dance. That's all he is. He is a leech on the organization. He has no value.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much.
He's proven several times in Summer League that he has no idea how to coach.
Do we still have Jed Bushler as well?
We do. Apparently, he's helped with. He, I think, helps with shooting, which you could say has helped some and has not helped with others.
I don't think. I mean, if it.
And he's also Luke's volleyball buddy.
Oh well, add RJ and Chris McGee to that too. Heater. Anyway, I'm with you. When it comes to Luke, I'm not giving up on Luke. It's frustrating watching him mess up stuff like this, and like mess up not playing Julius enough minutes and stuff like that. But I mean, we gotta remember he's what 38, 37, something like that.
I'll look it up.
He's something like that. He still isn't 40, which is a big deal. And
he's 37. He turns 38 in March.
So I mean,
he is still the youngest head coach in all of basketball
by like still a little bit, right?
Yeah,
I mean, because no one's gotten younger. They haven't brought in someone younger as a head coach.
The only guy that was pretty close was Earl Watson.
Oh well.
Everyone wants to call Brad Stevens the Wonder Kid.
Oh, he's a Wonder Kid.
He's 41. He's actually got 4 years on Luke.
Yeah.
So,
man, what I would give to have Brad Stevens as our head coach. Oh man.
Yeah, me and Hani and Hani used to joke about stealing him when he was in Sacramento.
Oh man,
like when Boston was playing in Sacramento. But yeah,
shout out to Kansas McBasketball. He absolutely loves Brad Stevens. He would give his firstborn for Brad Stevens.
Traitor.
Oh man! All right, moving on to do a little bit of draft talk. So it's been interesting so far with the prospects. I think it's going to be a very interesting draft this year, especially in the top 5, because there's a lot of good prospects in the very top half, or very top of the draft. A lot of star quality prospects, and a lot of big men. So I'm going to exclude Luka Doncic and Michael Porter Jr. From this argument because I see them as wing-ish or players who aren't really big like the rest of these guys. So I'm going to ask you, Clayton, rank these in order. So Marvin Bagley, DeAndre Ayton, Muhammad Bamba, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Robert Williams.
All right. So my top guy out of that is Muhammad Bamba.
Uh-huh.
My worst of those guys is Robert Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And the other 3, I have no idea where to put them. Bagley has been really good, but his defense is really bad.
He's been historically good for a freshman.
Yeah, his defense is really, really bad, though.
Mm-hmm.
But
is DeAndre Ayton bad, though?
DeAndre Ayton on the perimeter is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of cases, he's really good on the perimeter. It's his defense in the post or as a rim protector, is just awful.
It's so bad. It's like
really bad. Like DeAndre Ayton may have the highest ceiling of this entire draft, which is saying something. It
Yeah,
really is saying something.
it really is saying something with guys like Doncic and Bagley, so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
yeah, and Michael Porter Jr.,
Yeah,
like it's insane how high his ceiling is. But like I also would not be surprised if he's the guy that busts within like 3 years.
yeah,
Because like his awareness and his effort is just really really big concerns. Like
yeah, for sure.
very like and they're legitimate concerns. His motor has been an issue in high school.
Yeah, that's always
If
been his
if
problem.
you
He doesn't
have an
care.
issue with motor in high school, I question you.
Yeah,
So
and like someone like Bomba has been like the complete opposite in high school.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was all over the place.
So I would those three I just really have a hard time ranking exactly in
I
order
have
how
mine.
I
I have all mine in my head right now.
I would okay. I would probably go Bomba, and just because of the
Uh,
ceiling, I would probably go Aiton,
uh,
and then I would go I think Jaren Jackson. Then I would go Marvin Bagley, and the last one Robert Williams, a guy that I would put right behind Robert Williams, who we will actually not see this year, is Mitchell Robinson.
oh yeah, we will not see Mitchell Robinson. I would actually put Mitchell Robinson over Robert Williams, but
Yeah, they're
I'd also have a couple other players.
both of them would be. I like our one of our new favorite sites, the Stepien,
Hmm.
with Cole Zwicker and all of them. Uh, they have Mitchell Robinson at 11,
Hmm.
or someone has him at 11. I don't think it has a name
I
on
think
it.
Cole does. I think Cole does.
I will look it up.
Or I think
But
the consensus is 11, and Cole has
is it
him like top 10. I think.
Cole? No, Cole has him 15.
Okay.
Mark has him 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why he's 11.
4, and then Sean Dornthal has him 8, and then the other two have him at 12 and 13. So like
Yeah, I mean,
I think Mitchell Robinson's potential and everything is like a 8 to 12. Where he actually gets drafted, I bet you is more 20 to 30
I agree.
because of he has massive questions
Yeah,
just
yeah,
because of all the like, is he going to Western Kentucky? Is he not? Is he not? And then he ultimately decided not to. So yeah, that's the issue with him, obviously.
yeah.
So yeah, so I guess to just say it again, I'd go Bomba, Aiton just because of the ceiling,
Mhm.
Jackson, Bagley, and Robert Williams / Mitchell Robinson. The one that I am least comfortable with, I think, is actually Bagley,
Mhm.
because I have 2 questions about him.
Wingspan and
Well, wingspan, yes, and then position.
mm. I think he's a 5, but
I think he's a 5 too. I think though that people are going to look at him and think that he's a 4.
I mean they might use
And
him
if you
for like
put
more
him at the
wing.
4, I think that's a big mistake.
I think it is too.
But
But
yeah,
so for me, I'd go. I'd also have Bamba first. Then I would probably put Jaren Jackson second, then Bagley,
I
then Aiton, then Williams, Mitchell.
if I went just gut, I probably would have Aiton the last of them all.
Oh wow, really?
Just because like I have major concerns with guys that have just that low of IQ
Yeah.
around the rim and motor issues.
I mean, yeah, because
So
at
like
least
having one or the other, like I think that you can improve IQ, and I think
I
that
think like Bagley, he has a good motor, but he
yeah,
just doesn't really know how to protect the rim. You know,
exactly. So I think that like you can teach him scheme and stuff like that.
yeah, especially with
I
his
mean,
crazy
he's
athleticism too.
yeah, I mean he's probably not going to be, some type of like savant defending the rim.
Yeah.
But I think like you can at least get him as a decent weak side rim protector.
Hmm.
Um and I mean obviously can do that with 8 and 2.
Yeah.
But like Aiton just scares me more than I think all of them. Just whenever you have a guy who's been talked about with motor issues for a very long time, yeah, I think he would scare me the most. And like, I mean, it wouldn't like he'd be super far behind Robert Williams and Mitchell Robinson. It's just that like I don't really have super high expectations for them.
Right.
And I mean that's not to put them down. I really like Robert Williams. I talked him up a lot last year.
Yeah.
And I really like Mitchell Robinson, who is more just intrigue than anything at this point.
Yeah.
But he's just a very big concern for me. So um I guess I mean maybe I wouldn't have him behind them, but it's just I worry a lot about him, a lot more about him than everyone else apparently does.
Yeah. And I will say this isn't even about Aiton. I think Jaren Jackson could end up being a top 3 pick in this draft. I'm just gonna put that out there. But
Yeah.
I
I mean, honestly, he could go too.
yeah,
I
he looks
yeah.
really good defensively. I'm really impressed with him on defense.
Yeah, I need to watch a lot more on him. I've only seen a couple little things on him,
Yeah.
but like I'm very, 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 very intrigued with him.
Yeah, same. Okay, so just real quick, I wanted to see. There was a mock draft release on ESPN by the Drafted Trust guys, and I from the we've talked about trying to trade for a pick in the 19 or higher range, or 19 to 30 range, and trying to trade someone like Jordan Clarkson, or if we have to trade Julius, try to get a pick like that. So Clay, do you have a couple guys in mind that you would want us to go for in that range, or do you want me to go first?
Um, I mean, a lot of the guys that you kind of sent were guys that I
Right.
like.
Oh,
Um,
just pick 2 of them. I'll pick.
only two of them. Oh my
Yeah.
word. Dang you, man. Uh, if let me just I guess go off the Stepien. You said 19 to what?
19 to 30.
Okay. If I'm gonna go off of them, holy crap, the 3 top guys that the first 3 are all 3 that I want.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm gonna say F you and I'm gonna go with 3 guys.
Fine.
The first one would be Hamidou Diallo.
Mm-hmm.
He is the guy that I found last year out of our little group.
Yep.
And I just
With his Nick
absolutely
Young
love him.
jumper. With his Nick Young jumper.
Yeah, with his Nick Young jumper. It seriously, it looks so Nick Youngish. It's not a very good shot right now.
No, not right now.
It's really bad actually. But his freak athleticism is just
Oh yeah.
so it's drooling. Like it's just so like imagining like full court alley-oops from Lonzo to Hamidou would not surprise me. Like he is just a freak when it comes to athleticism. Like it's it's not just vertical athleticism either. It's he's quick and he can move his hips well. Like
Yeah.
he did a lane drill last year at the combine where he tested very well as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, while he would be a massive project, he might have the highest ceiling of anyone that might be outside of the lottery.
Yeah.
And honestly, if he can show like a developing shot by the end of the season, he might not last past the lottery.
I think the spacing of that Kentucky team won't let him really get to that point.
Yeah,
because it's just a crapshoot of no spacing and a lot of guys who are long and athletic but can't shoot worth a lick. I mean,
when Kevin Knox is your best 3-point shooter, or
and
last time I looked, then there's a huge
Yeah.
issue with that. I'm not a Knox fan.
I saw Cole Zwicker compare him to sort of Kuzma-ish.
I saw that one. I just don't really know if I like Knox that much. Like
Right.
I'm not on that board yet. The next guy would be 20 off the Stepien as well. Lonnie Walker, my boy from the U.
Lonnie, he had a good game yesterday.
Huh? Yeah,
he had a good game yesterday.
He scored 26 points. Oh crap. He shot really well from the field. It was 8 from 13 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3.
Ooh.
he's not even 19 yet.
Oh man.
So he's young. He's 6'4" and a half, almost 6'5",
Six.
and then he's got a 6'10", almost 6'11" wingspan. He's
Also,
pretty athletic. He
yeah.
can shoot. Like, I don't really think the shooting is that fake. You
Yeah.
know, like I think it should translate pretty well. It doesn't. He doesn't have a weird form to it, so it looks pretty smooth. The few times that I've been able to catch him. I really like
Yeah.
him. I think that, especially with that game, Larange is going to start moving him into more of a important role
Yeah.
with Miami. He started out the year off the bench because he had torn his meniscus, which that is the biggest concern, is the meniscus.
Yeah.
But his ceiling is pretty dang high.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think he's an elite shooter, but he could work himself to be just underneath that. If I'm
Mhm.
wrong on that, like, I mean, everyone's wrong on stuff, but I liked him before I found out he was going to Miami. And when he said that he declared for Miami, I just went crazy. But yeah, he's a guy that I would just love to have, just a guy that can spread the floor. He's pretty athletic. I don't think he's an elite athlete, but he's a pretty good athlete. He's long, and the defense will come. I don't think he's great on defense. He's okay. He's not Bruce Brown on defense, but he'll get there, especially
Yeah.
since he's not even 19. And even though he's 6'5", he already weighs 15 pounds more than Brandon.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he's at 205 while Brandon's at 190.
Jeez.
So that'd probably be my second guy. The last guy, since of course everyone now has jumped on board the Mikal Bridges
Oh, he's
bandwagon.
20 on it. They haven't updated it then.
Huh?
Because he's in the lottery on the mock draft right here.
Yeah, he's at 12. The no no no, the since Mikal is way high
Oh,
now.
gotcha.
The other guy I would look at would be Shake Milton. Um,
Jake.
One, because the name. It's just such a great name. But
Also length.
he's 6'6", with a 6'11", 6'11" wingspan. He's 205, so he's already got a decent body. He's 21 years old, so he's a little older, especially compared to the guys that I just was talking about.
Yeah.
But this is a guy in the NBA. He's going to be a 2.
Yeah.
All right, so he can handle the ball a bit, but he plays point guard at SMU, but he's not a point guard in the NBA.
Mhm.
But I think he'll be able to handle enough to where he can be a secondary ball handler.
Yeah.
And well, the Stepien also kind of, I just read this right here. That's his offensive role as a secondary ball handler.
Yeah.
He shoots pretty well. His defense, he should, because of size and length, he should be able to be a guy that can defend at the point of attack, as they say there as well. I would really like him as well.
Yeah.
One of those three guys, I would die of happiness because all three of those guys are guys that would fit.
Yeah. I mean, I think I die
Gallo,
of having
Gallo would have
the
the
most
issue
with
of
Gallo.
lack of shot, but he would provide
Fun.
insane athleticism.
He would provide fun.
Yes. He would be the longest or the biggest project, and he might. I mean, he probably has the lowest floor. Like, I mean, everyone has like a bust floor, but if the shot gets to like 35 to 37%, you're looking at
Watch out.
a just insane player, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
All right. So I have three. The first one, I don't have a feeling he probably won't be there, but I just wanted to mention him because I really like him. Trae Young from Oklahoma. I don't know. He's so much fun to watch. He's probably the best shooter.
I bet you he goes lotto now.
I think he does too, but he's 17 on this mock draft, and you never know. He's playing like Steph Curry in college right now. He has the long, deep threes, the really good pick and roll ball handling, a great passer. He's able to finish at the rim. He isn't great at the rim, sort of like Steph was in college, but he kind of has some craftiness to it. He's able to navigate pick and rolls really well. The defense, he isn't the tall. I think he's 6'2", but I think just the shooting alone is just ridiculous. It puts him over the top when it comes to worrying about him. And he's a point guard too. Like he has actual ball skills. So if somehow somebody Lakers are able to get him, you can definitely pair him with Lonzo, and that would be a very fun backcourt if Lonzo figures out his shot too. That's a lot of threes being scored right there.
My issue would be the defense with Trae Young.
Yeah, the issue is with him is defense, but I mean, I think the offense is so impressive from what I've watched. He's
at that point, it would be totally fine, like 19 to 20, but I mean, or 19 later, but he's not going to be there.
Right. Someone who I think will be there, who I'm very intrigued in, is Anthony Simmons. I think he's come out of high school.
He's the IMG Academy, I think.
That's where Trayvon Duval played. So yeah. He's only 18 years old, so when he gets drafted, he'll be almost 19. From what I've seen in scouting reports and stuff like that, he is a very good shooter. He's a guy that people have thought might be one of the best shooters in a little bit coming out of like high school and college. He is projected as a 2, and I believe he's 5. I'm looking up real fast for Simmons. I believe he's like 6'5" with 6'7" wingspan. No, that's not right. He's 6'3" with a 6'7" wingspan. He's a guy that I think he's also a project, but he's a guy that he can create his own shot. He can score off the dribble. He can spot up and shoot. He has decent playmaking vision, and it would be he would also be a project. He'd be sort of like Diallo in that aspect, but he'd be a guy that if everything broke right, then he would work out. He'd be a really fun guy to have as a shooter and a secondary ball handler. And then one of my favorite guys in college, who I think is a perfect role player guy, is D'Anthony Melton, who hasn't played a college game yet.
Even this season.
Yeah, he hasn't played a college game this season.
He might not either.
Yeah, I mean the FBI stuff it could, drop his draft stock, which could help, which would be fun with the Lakers.
Which would help you.
Yeah, which would help me because I think I mean what is he going to step in? I think he's a lottery pick, right?
I'm looking for him. D'Anthony Melton is 15, so right outside the lottery.
Borderline lottery. He's a guy who is he's really good. He's solid at everything except for creating his own shot. He improved decently on his shot in his freshman year. He's a very good defender. He's a good weak side rim protector for a guard. He's a guy that you could put on like the best wing or best like backcourt player. I think he'd be able to stick him really well. The whole defense game. He's kind of like a longer, younger Josh Hart in a way. I think he's going to be able to defend a lot of different positions. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 if he can bulk up. I know he's only 6'3", but he has a pretty long wingspan.
6'8" wingspan. I don't see that guard in the 4.
He can 1, 2, 3. I think he can be a guy that can switch.
Yeah, I agree.
Like how Josh Hart does for the Lakers right now, and he's a guy that is able to help there. He has some ball skills, but he's more of a guy that like
he's a secondary ball handler. That's for sure.
Yeah. He's a role player in college, but I think he'll be a great role player in the NBA, sort of like Mikal Bridges. But Bridges has sort of turned into a star all of a sudden. But coming into the season, Mikal Bridges was supposed to be a role player that would be a borderline lottery pick. But just give me more guys in the backcourt who can handle and play defense and who are long, honestly. I mean, and he's pretty athletic as well.
Yeah,
So
my only issue with all three guys that you picked is that all three guys are like 6'3".
yeah,
So like,
I think with me
if
that
anyone's watched the podcast, I like guys that are like 6'5" and up with like a 6'10" wingspan and more. And while like all three of those guys have 6'3", they're 6'3" and like a 6'7" to 6'8" wingspan, which is good length. My concern always with any of those guys, other than Trae Young, because I think he could be a legit point guard, is then you have the issue of you have a tiny shooting guard. And yeah, you have a long guy, but then who does that sound exactly like in the NBA? Someone that's 6'3" with a long wingspan and should be able to defend and he was not necessarily a shooter, but then he became a really good shooter.
I don't know why I'm blanking.
Avery Bradley.
Oh yeah, Avery Bradley. Forgot about him.
Okay, so I'm not saying those guys are Avery Bradley. I'm just comparing the size. Bradley actually, I think, is like a 6'10" wingspan, maybe a 6'11". It's freakish how long he is. But whenever you have a guy like that, that means that you have to have other size around him. And while the Lakers do have that, I don't like the idea of going after guys that small.
Yes,
unless you're thinking about making them like bench guys, which that's whatever, that's fine. But
I think Trae Young could be a legit starter, but
yeah, but I mean, you're also thinking that Trae Young is going to be a point guard, right?
I think he is a point guard, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, he is a point guard, but I'm meaning like in the NBA, there's DeAnthony Melton a lot of times plays the point guard. He is not a point guard in the NBA. So like the issue with Trae Young being a point guard with the Lakers is because they have a guy who they just spent the second overall pick on who they believe is the point guard.
Well, we always talk about how Lonzo's a 2. So I imagine these guys.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
But you have to also go with reality, and the Lakers do not think that he's a 3 or a 3. They don't think he's a 2. They think he's a 1.
I think when I'm talking about like, because you said all of them are 6'3" with long wingspans for them. I am imagining them playing next to Lonzo, who is 6'6".
No, and I totally get that. But then I would I still would go with guys that are 6'5" to 6'7", 6'8".
I'm not opposed to them, and I think of
you and your freak athletic guys, and then everyone that's 6'3". It's
pretty much. It's either the freak athletic guys or the guys who just shoot the lights out.
I'm surprised the guy that you didn't say, which I don't think the Lakers would ever really consider, is Evans Pons.
Oh, Pons! I love Pons.
6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan, but he is a disgusting athlete.
Free of Evans Pons, man.
Yeah, he had a dunk the other night that was just
it was ridiculous.
Insane. It was ridiculous.
Oh, so man. Speaking of ridiculous dunks, I have to bring this up. Mohamed Bamba, that dunk yesterday.
he had the ball above the square. Like that shouldn't be possible.
I mean, when someone is he's 7'1", right? With
he's a 7'1" with a 7'9" wingspan and a 9'6" standing reach. Like, and he's not a great athlete, but he's a pretty good one. He does though look like the Slender Man. So he is painfully thin, but he's got a decent frame. He's got a decent frame though. I do think it'll come along, but he's also older than like everyone else. But
it's an old draft.
he's this all of them are this. He is definitely the Slender Man of the draft. It's so funny how thin and skinny he is, but how freakishly long. Like it's a 7'6" wingspan. The only other guy in the NBA that has a 7'6" wingspan is Rudy Gobert.
7'9".
Or 7'9". Sorry, anyone that else that has a 7'9" wingspan is Rudy Gobert. So, and Rudy Gobert is 7'3".
Yeah, and he came into the league sort of like Bamba as well. He was very slender. He wasn't really built, and now he's a beast. Like he's huge, that guy. So if Bamba can do that in the
Yeah.
NBA, like watch out. And
Yeah.
he also has offensive skills. So I mean, I got off topic with Bamba, but
Yeah.
I love Muhammad Bamba. I don't care.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan.
Anyone you want to bring up anyone else, or is that it?
I mean, like I could talk about a lot of these guys,
Oh,
but
I know.
until the Lakers get a pick, I really don't want to get too involved,
Right.
like emotionally,
Well,
because like
we're already emotionally
oh man.
involved in
Well, I mean, like
Lonnie
because
Walker and
if the Lakers could walk away somehow with a one of the Mitchell Robinson, Mikal Bridges, Bruce Brown, Hamidou Diallo, Lonnie
Lonnie
Walker,
Walker,
Shake Milton, or there's another guy. I can't
Mountain.
remember. Well, I mean, for me,
Yeah.
one of those guys. So a 2/3 and or like a 5, like Mitchell Robinson. If they could walk away with one of those guys, I would be so happy. But the problem is I think all of those go before the Lakers get a pick.
I mean, honestly, I could honestly see Clarkson getting an early 20, maybe early teen or late teens pick, maybe, because I think he's been that good this
The
year.
problem is then you're looking at teams in that 6 to 8 range,
I think that
or 4. I would say let me switch that to like the 5 to 7 range in the playoffs.
yeah,
So
I
what
think
what you're going to need to do then is you're going to need to look at teams that need a 6-man like him and have a matching salary.
well, I think the Pistons could actually use him.
Find me the salary.
I'll find the salary, but I mean,
And I can. I mean, I'm famous for fixing the Lakers on the trade machine, but yeah,
we gotta have a full trade machine episode. That would be fun.
man, those would be great.
Oh man. I mean, I honestly think I think that Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr., and Julius Randle could all fetch first rounders. Honestly.
I mean, I wouldn't look to just add all first rounders unless like you're trying to use all those first to move up. I still have this dream of Randall for like Oubre. It's not going to happen, but I mean, it's a dream that won't go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. The only guy that like you could possibly come close to matching Jordan Clarkson with on the Pistons is Bradley, and I think they want to try and extend him.
I mean, yeah, they're good now. So
Yeah,
unless we can do like, how much money do they have available? That's the thing, because like maybe Ish Smith.
no,
You know,
they don't have it. Well, Ish has got a 2-year fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
So no,
Well,
like there's really not a lot of guys that you can do that with. So like it's pretty hard, especially taking on as Ben Rosales has said, neutral money. So
yeah.
like, I mean, you could try and find a way to flip other guys after getting an asset for Clarkson as well, but the likelihood of that I think is pretty low.
We can get Laker Twitter favorite Stanley Johnson.
No, thank you.
Just because.
No.
I don't know. What's today? Today is the
6th.
6th. 9 days. The 15th is going to be really interesting. Or 15th on, because they keep bringing up the 15th.
Yeah, that one's the funny thing. It's not even remotely the trade deadline yet. But the
way they talk, it's like they're going to trade Pope and Lopez, because that's when you can trade them.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they can trade Lopez now.
They can?
I believe so, because he wasn't a free agent.
Or well, KCP was he the only guy we signed? Oh, and Bogut, I guess, but
yeah. I don't.
Tyler Ennis. That's it, I think.
I'll look up. The trade machine usually blocks that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Caldwell Pope, Tyler Ennis, and Bogut. Yep, all three. You were spot on.
Yeah, so I think And then look out for Zubac and Larry Nance Jr. and of course Julius Randle and Jordan Clarkson as well on that date. As much as I don't want Julius to be gone,
I think he's gone.
well, I can dream.
I don't want him to be gone, but now I don't want him to be gone. But
yeah,
I think he's gone.
Well, we'll see. I still don't think they trade him because I think the team crashes and burns immediately when he leaves. Honestly, and that's not the Julius stand in me. I really think the team will fall apart if he leaves.
Yeah, he's been one of the. If he's not the best player on the Lakers right now, he's the second best.
Yeah, and the first best would be Kuzma, but
yeah.
Like I said, the 15th is going to be a big date. Our 15th on, and the way that the Lakers and Pelinka and Magic have been talking, that they're going to be active and they want to get shooters. So I mean, I did see there's like shooters you can get who are like super old and who can just shoot, like a Marco Bellinelli type. Who, I mean, if you can get a pick from the Hawks, who have like 3 of them in the first round, then cool. But it's like I feel like those are the only type of shooters they can realistically get. It would be those Marco Bellinelli types, the Steve Novak types, people like that. So mark that date because it's going to be a big one. I do think there's going to be a lot of movement in a trade deadline from the Lakers, whether it be someone big like Julius or not. So I think we're going to end it here. Anything else you want to add, Clayton?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. So we'll see you guys later. We'll probably pod again soon, especially if there's a trade in that in the next couple weeks or so. We're for sure gonna have one. But I still think draft stuff. We're gonna try to get guests and stuff like that. Start spreading the word even more. So follow us at Under the Best Pod on Twitter. You can follow Clayton at Lakers 1949, and you can follow me at Merge Christian, all on Twitter. Thanks for joining us, and see you guys later. Peace.
Later.